are always excited about this concert, and it is one of my very favorite nights of the year because I get to see all 200 plus of my students in one room, which is very special. Before we get started, our MMA co-presidents have a little something to share with you, and so I will pass the baton.
Hello, everyone. My name is Meg Cabazud, and I am one of the co-presidents of the Medfield Music Association. On behalf of the entire MMA board, we wanted to welcome you to String Fling. This is really one of my favorite events of the entire year, and so we're in for a wonderful night of music. Thank you so much to Mrs. Evans and Mr. Bielik for putting on this amazing event year after year. This is the one time when we get the entire orchestra program into the same room. So we thought we can't pass up this amazing opportunity. And we're going to ask you to participate in a $5 challenge. If you turn to the very last page of your program, you will see a Venmo QR code. And we would love for everyone in this room to scan that QR code and donate $5 right now. Can you imagine if everyone in this room donated $5, what a big difference that would make for these students sitting here right this moment. So if you can, please take 30 seconds, scan your code, and donate $5 to support these amazing students.
Hi there, and my name is Sue Tenhagen, and I'm the other co-president of the Medfield Music Association. While you are scanning, for those of you unfamiliar with the MMA, we raise funds to support the entire K-12 music program and help bridge the gap where the school budget for music can be limited. Some examples of what we fund are new uniforms for high school ensembles, scholarships for lessons, camps, and trips, programs like Jazz Lab and the Dale Chamber program, visits by guest artists, instrument repair, and those are just to name a few. So we need your help to make all of this happen. Thank you so very, very much for your support, and please help yourself to concessions outside, candy, water, all the good stuff. Thank you so much, and now to Mrs. Evans.
So we're going to get our night started with our 4th grade orchestra. They started playing in September and are doing a fantastic job. Since you last saw us 4th grade parents in January, we've been really focusing on note reading. Before that, we were kind of doing by ear and by letter names, but now we are reading music like the grown-up musicians that they're about to become. And we've been focusing on that and using big full bows, and I'm sure you're going to be impressed, and some of you will think, oh, remember when, which is also a wonderful feeling. So, 4th grade, please. Stay in class. 1, 2, play. And this is their first karate belt song, French folk song. So in the 5th grade orchestra, we're working on playing more in parts versus playing in unison. You'll hear some more harmonies, some more advanced rhythm, and this year's 5th graders are even doing, and I'm so impressed with them, they're even playing in mixed figure patterns, which if you don't know what that means, it's okay, just know it's tricky, and they're doing it, so we're very proud of that. So here is New World Symphony. They just had a heart attack. New World Symphony. piece inspired by the gladiator Spartacus, and so it has some it really stretches the orchestra. It has a beautiful opening section and then a really intense ending, and so I think you will enjoy this. You're doing an awesome job. are an integral part of our string team, so please give Mr. Felix, who's also our music department coordinator. He also wears an orchestra hat with me on the fourth grade on Wednesday, so we thank him for that. The high school is getting ready for two really exciting things. Next week we are going to Disney World to perform at Disney, and then to also do a recording session where we'll get to be studio musicians and play a soundtrack to, I don't even know which Disney cartoon it is, but we'll get to do that. So that's going to be really exciting. And so we're going to play one of the pieces. Our second piece will be performing in Disney. Well, actually both of them, but that one's a Disney one. And then at the beginning of April, every year we go to our state festival, the Micah Festival, where we go and we play for judges and we are ready to have a clinic and give us feedback. It's a really great learning experience. So we have that coming up shortly as well. So these are two of the pieces that we're playing for those upcoming performances. Here is Contrast in E minor.
Hi, everybody. My name is Shayla Foreman, and I am the Vice President of the high school orchestra. Oliver's coming.
And hi everyone, I'm Oliver Manuel and I'm the president of the high school orchestra.
Okay, we just want to take a second to thank Mrs. Evans. Teaching 9 different grades, 3 different schools, and memorizing hundreds of kids' names is super impressive. But to add to this, Mrs. Evans always comes into school with a smile and a funny story to tell.
In the 9 years that she has been our teacher, we have not only grown a couple of feet taller, but have grown as musicians and people. Mrs. Evans has been a constant throughout all of this, and we wouldn't be the same without her.
Thank you, Mrs. Evans, for being patient when I mess up the viola soli during contrasts in E minor every single time except for tonight, for always brightening my day, and for being the best orchestra director we could ask for.
And thank you, Mrs. Evans, for helping me out every time my bridge, string, or bow has broken in the middle of practice or a concert. In the past few years, it has happened a little too often, in my opinion. And String Fling is only possible due to her, and we are so grateful for everything that she's done for us.
Thank you, Mrs. Evans, and have a good night, everybody.
All right, thank you everybody for being here. We have one more really special treat for you, our grand finale fiddle tune. 1,